I feel like you could interpret those quotes and then the O as like a butthole squeezing out of poop. Like, I really think you could. Poop, LOL, poop.
Oh my god.
Hello and welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. Excited still feels wrong for the times that we're in, but this week was maybe more leaning towards exciting than some previous weeks.
Grown-ups.
Radicalized grown-ups, yeah. That's a good one.
That's a good, yeah.
I'm Hannah. And these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hey, what up?
Who made that noise?
Yeah, that was my throat. That was like one of those... It was like, well, when you were like 5 seconds of room tone, I like hilariously gulped water into my microphone, and then that was kind of the repercussion of that.
It was funny, though. It was funny as hell, dude.
I think it was fucking worth it. And I feel so hydrated right now, so. What's
cool.
up, Ben?
Well, one fun thing to say, you know how we talked last week about like lengthening everything possible? Mm-hmm. So one thing.
What?
No?
I don't. Can you a little more context, please?
Saying things the longest way.
Oh, yeah, like the United States Postal Service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One that Ian and I came up with tonight, which I think it could really change some things, is put some pepper in your stepper.
I like that.
That's not the same thing.
It's a cousin. It's a cousin of it.
Come on, young whippersnapper, put some pepper in your stepper.
I feel like I would be inclined to say, put some pepperino in your stepperinsco. Or something like that.
This has gone too far.
Put some pepperoni in your stepperoni.
I like it.
It hasn't gone far enough, Ben. Cool. Well, cool. Erin, what are you drinking?
Okay, here's what happens. I was making my decaf coffee, and then I'm like pouring. I've just finished making my little pour over, and I look up, and I see a brand new box of tea. And the flavor of this tea, I hadn't seen this tea before. It appeared in the house. The flavor of this tea is glazed lemon. I don't remember what it is. What is it? Is it glazed lemon? She's not here. Glazed lemon loaf.
Such a big house.
Yeah.
Glazed lemon loaf tea from Tazo. And I saw that and I was like, I have to have that. I was like, glazed lemon loaf? Yes, please. So I have a cup of decaf coffee and a cup of glazed lemon loaf tea that I'm going to sip for the first time here on pod.
Oh, first time sip.
Shit, that's delicious. And it's an herbal tea, and it doesn't have any sweetener in it. I hate artificial sweeteners, and I hate sweet tea, as we discussed in a previous pod. On the box, they're like, for an extra, what did they say? They used a really nice word. For an extra luxurious experience, brew with 2 tea bags and add milk and sugar. I might try that sometime and just add milk. Maybe a little sugar. But that's what I'm drinking, and some water.
Is it lemony then? Or like, it's not sweet then?
It's got sweet herbs in it. You know, it's got like a sweet, it invokes a sweetness, and it's lemony. And glazed, I was remarking at their marketing, like glazed lemon loaf tea. Like if it had been lemon loaf tea, would I have been as excited? I don't think quite as excited.
Not.
Yeah.
Remarketing.
Remarkable. There we go.
What's like lemon loaf about it as opposed to just being lemony?
Yeah. It's got
loaf essence.
It's got bread in it. It's got
there's croutons in the tea bag.
Croutons, exactly, like little croutons. It's got a real, like, if you envision, like, biting into, like, one of those, like, real moist lemon, like a glazed bunt, like, lemon loaf. It's got a quality to it that is like that. It's got, like, a lemony and also, like a sweet, like, herb. I know that they just don't have herb, but it just, like, doesn't taste like lemon. It's not as sharp as lemon. It's got, like, a toned down, like, dessert lemonness to it. I don't know how they do it. Okay, I got you.
That makes sense.
It's nice. I like it.
Cool. That's got the Erin seal of approval.
Yeah, I think it came with Molly ordered more vanilla bean macaron, which you know is my jam. It's a frequent tea I drink on this podcast. And I think it came with it. It's in the same line of like dessert tea, herbal teas. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Baby Ben, what are you drinking?
2 cups of ice water.
That's a classic.
That's a me.
Water. I have 2 drinks.
What do you got?
I got water.
Excellent.
And I haven't tried this.
Ooh.
I have a Mango Lassie Sour IPA from Mighty Squirrel Brewing Company.
Wow.
Lassie as in like the Indian yogurt beverage thing?
Yeah.
And the IPA?
That is
brewed
weird.
with mango, peach, and lactose sugar.
Wow.
I will read you the back. Bundled in each can are a few of our favorite things. Friendship, sports, entrepreneurship, innovation, and fun. We hope you enjoy Mighty Squirrel and have many mighty moments to celebrate. Okay, that's not the part I meant to read.
Weird list of things.
Entrepreneurial.
Friendship.
They're from Waltham. So, alright, let's try it.
What's the part that you meant to read, though?
Yeah, this was from Waltham.
Oh, that's actually very nice.
Sour IPA?
I know. I can't.
I
can't get on
yogurt?
board.
Here's the part that I meant to read. Sour IPA dry hopped with Ekuanot and Mosaic hops and fermented with mangoes, peaches, and lactose sugar.
Dry hopped. So does it taste bitter?
No.
Okay.
It does not. It actually, I wouldn't even say that it tastes particularly sour. Like, I actually am kind of quite surprised at how much it actually tastes like Lassie.
Huh. You're just throwing these words around then. Sour and
IPA.
I mean, it's sour. It's tart, but it's tart like yogurt. Like yogurt is.
Wow.
It's good.
Nice.
I like it. It finishes very, very clean. Like, there's no, like, that bitter aftertaste that I hate in hops.
Is it like yogurt chunks? Like you sometimes get with the Lassie? So that's nice.
Yeah, it's got essence of yogurt and yogurt croutons.
What is that company?
That's Mighty Squirrel.
They have a cloud candy IPA.
I don't know what that is.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like this is the company that did, like, the protein beer or something. I think that might be why it has, like, sports on their list of things they like. Sports and entrepreneurship.
Putting protein in places where protein ought not to be.
Yeah. But anyway,
Squirrel
it's good.
Strawberry smoothie, not smoothie, smoothie, New England IPA. This looks like a fascinating company.
Wow.
Are you near them?
Yeah, I can get. Well, I don't know if I'm. Waltham's not that close to me, but I can order them from places.
Ah, cool.
I'm like curious enough. I might order that Mango Lassie.
It's pretty good. I gotta say, it's pretty good.
Pretty good. She likes it.
Oh, I did not check emails.
Yeah, we don't have anything. Well, I'll let you look at it.
Okay.
You know me. I always check. I always check that email. We had 2 missed calls.
Did you say missed calls?
But no voicemails.
No voicemail.
Wow, I have dogs scratching at my door. The dogs cannot bear that I'm in here without them. They have been following me around all day. Like, every time I go to the bathroom, I've got 2 dogs crammed into the bathroom with me. It's just, the day dogs are born, they make a blood oath to never let a human go into a bathroom when they're around.
I think Hazel made that oath too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got an email, a test email from DHA blog that is all in maybe Spanish or Portuguese. I don't know which. So that's cool. And our domain will renew in 7 days.
Cool.
Thanks for reaching out, DHA blog. Appreciate you.
I think that's Spanish.
Is it?
I think so. But I don't know either, for sure.
It might be.
We simply don't know.
I would try to figure out, but I've never logged into the email.
Yeah, that's okay. Checking email is women's work. Anyway, any other friends?
I don't have any friends this week, shockingly.
Yeah.
Well, then, I don't know. Should we just pop in, then?
We should just pop in. I'm first. So, are we ready to pop in?
Yo.
Ben, are you ready?
Yo.
Okay.
Alright. So, today I will be flirting with the line between TMI and not TMI, but I think that it's gonna be okay, because I think we're gonna stay firmly on the side of, like, interesting science for my obsession today.
Okay.
So, have y'all heard of, and I have trouble pronouncing this word, supernumerary nipples?
No.
So, supernumerary nipples are, I'm going to read this blurb, are a common, minor, congenital malformation that consists of nipples and or related tissue in addition to the nipples normally appearing on the chest. And it's
like third nipples?
Like a third nipple, like a trip nip. And so it's something that actually like a lot of the population has. And I have many supernumerary nipples.
Really?
Yeah. And this is my obsession this week because I think I have recently found more than I knew about. And I've just been like so interested in like what they are, you know, like what they mean, who has them.
Can you spell it?
Yeah, super NUMERARY. All one word. Supernumerary.
Oh, I thought numerary.
Supernumerary. Yeah. I'm just not saying it right. Supernumerary. And they're not like, you know, oh my gosh, don't Google image just supernumerary.
Why not?
You can, just not supernumerary. You get a lot of teeth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it can refer to other things.
Yeah. Specifically the nipple part. So also, the specific thing is also known as like, accessory nipples or witch's nipples or like other things like that.
I like accessory nipples.
I like accessory nipples a lot.
I like that too. Or Sarah recently called them, we were talking about them, she called them aspiring nipples because they're like not they're not like full nipples, they're just like little bumps, right? Like so I think a lot of people have them, and I think a lot of people have them and don't know about them because they're just like little, they can be just little bumps. But what's interesting is that some, and I think all of mine, appear on like the human milk line. So your milk line, if you actually Google that too.
Wait, what? What is that?
So
sorry.
Google.
I'm learning so much.
I know. I think this is why it's my obsession this week, because I think it's so interesting. So Google milk line, like human milk line, and then look at like one of the first image searches that pops up is like the torso of a naked woman, and it has like red lines and then little circles. So on those little circles are where supernumerary. I'm also using this as a chance to get used to saying this word. Supernumerary nipples can occur. They can occur anywhere, but like for some people, they occur on this milk line. And I have on the left side of my body, I think I have 3 addition. I think I have 3 accessory nipples like on.
Oh, so these are like where if we still had like 8 nipples on each side or whatever, right. This is like where they would be.
Wow.
Exactly, or like cats or dogs have nipples all up and down. Yeah, and
can
so
it produce milk on these parts?
I think it can. So there's different like levels of them. And none of mine have been medically diagnosed. This is another shade of my obsession where I'm like, I really want to find a dermatologist or a physician who's like going to be as enthused as I am. I want to be like, look all over my body and tell me where all my nipples are. I want a little like enthusiasm because I think it's really cool. I think it's just like a really interesting like biology thing. Like I want to know like where they are. I want a confirmation that they are what I think they are, and just like I want to learn more about them. And so what happened was like I have one like it looks just like a little like mole or something,
like a mole. Yeah, a lot of them just look like moles.
Yeah, but this one like I think if you look at it like closely, you're like, that looks like a little nipple that could like it's like very small. And so I've always known about it and had no doubt. It's like right on my milk line, and it's just like, for me, there's no doubt that that's what it was. And then like recently, cause it's been tick season, I've been like paranoid about like bumps on my body. And so I found a like bump and I had Molly look at it and she was like, oh, that looks like a even more miniature version of that other bump on you. And I was like, oh my God. And I looked at like the milk line image and it's like right along the milk line. And so then I was like reading more about it and like I could have more. And so I started like just searching and I found more that really correspond with that milk line diagram. And so I was like, I think I'm covered in nipples. So.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, so many of like, some of them look like, I'm looking at all over Google Images, and like some of them, I mean, there's like people who have like an entire nipple on their foot and stuff, but like some of them just look like moles.
Right, exactly. Which makes me think a lot of people might have them and, not know about it. And again, they can happen in all sorts of ways, but like some have like breast tissue underneath.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I think, and then those it can develop. And I think, like, some, can start lactating. I don't think that mine are that severe at all, but I just think it's interesting and something I like never really heard about. Yeah, mine are more like, because some of these are like, really look like nipples, but mine don't.
And it looks like anybody, I mean, it's not just yeah, men can have them too.
I think they're more common in men, actually, is something I
I've
read.
known a couple people with their nipples in my life.
Yeah.
Looks like Zac Efron has a couple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Let it go. Fly your trip, Nip. Anywho.
Could it be? Oh my God, this picture. Of Zac Efron with like little dots under his, like it looks like he has like little extra nipples under his pecs, and then it's like circled with a bunch of arrows and says, "Could it be?" Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, there's like a lot of pictures with arrows pointing at his looks like third and fourth nipples. That's fun. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things where a lot of them are unconfirmed, and so most of it's, so some of it's like pure interest because I've like discovered them, and also just like frustration because I like wish I could go to a physician and be like, can you tell me if these are nipples? But that's just like, physicians have like so much more important things to be doing right now. So if you're a physician who's enthusiastic about supernumerary nipples,
I got too deep
please
in the
reach out.
Google image results.
What'd you say?
I got too deep in the Google image results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can happen. But anyway, if you have some and you want to talk about, if you feel like geeking out about them, let me know.
I want to search my milk lines now.
Yeah.
Not right now, but...
Yeah, and I've got, like, you know, pictures that are, you know, don't have any, are sanitized, like, so if you want to pick.
Well, they have nipple in them.
Well, yeah, they have nipples in them, but, you know, free the nip, is what I say. Free all your nips, is what I say. And also, just, like, looking at that milk line image, too, last thing, is that it made me wonder, because, like, when I saw that, I started just, like, searching my milk line, and I have this, can you see this, like, I've always had this, like, little birthmark here, but that's, like, on kind of so it made me wonder, too, if, like, this mole that I've always had is just another nipple. You know what they say. Just
another one.
Yep.
I have like a big mole. Oh, that's definitely a mole.
Okay. Could be a nipple. I feel like I just don't know anymore, right? Like, where's the line? So.
Wow.
Yeah.
A whole new thing to explore our bodies for.
I think I win for weirdest obsession ever.
I'd have to look back at the list. I think you're definitely.
Well, I was obsessed with Kylie's collapsing lung once.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That is true, and that was true also.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be true.
Oh, man. Yeah. Does it still happen a lot?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
No, and it hasn't, like, collapsed in a while, but her lung usually hurts a little bit every month.
Oof. Bogus.
She's got a weird lung.
Well, that's all for me. I don't really, you know, have a lot to say on the subject other than at me if you're also interested in talking about it.
At me if you got extra
check your milk lines.
Yeah, check your milk line.
Tell us about your nips.
Yeah, feel free to call and email us about your nipples.
Yeah. Honestly, who cares? Free the nip!
What'd you say?
It. I said free the nip, but I yelled it weird.
Free the nip!
Free the nip! Cool. Well, Ben is next, then.
Oh, look at that. It's me.
Good obsession, Erin. Great content. Keep up the great content.
Thank you.
My obsession is season 4 of Seen on Radio.
Oh, nice.
Which is titled, I always have to look it up, The Land That Never Has Been Yet, which is a line from a Langston Hughes poem. And wowie, it's so good. I mean, Seeing White was already really good. I think we've talked about that a little bit. If y'all haven't listened to it, gotta listen to it. It's so good.
That's season 2 of Seen on Radio.
Seen on Radio.
Which is a podcast.
Yeah, thanks. I did say that it was a podcast.
Wow.
I think. Maybe I didn't, actually.
I don't think you did.
Hey, man, sometimes you just don't say it. But yeah, it's the history of America, obviously condensed into podcast form, but it's like the real history and like not like the bullshit they teach us in school. And a couple of I think in lieu of just trying to like explain what they talk about on the podcast, I'm just going to talk about a couple of my like key takeaways I've gotten so far. I'm not finished. I think I'm on like episode 10 or 11. Number one, the whole like beginning is about rethinking the American Revolution, and even like because it was very much like a revolution by rich people for rich people reasons, like not really motivated by the people like a revolution typically be. Like compare it to the French Revolution, it's really entirely different. And it's fascinating how like from the beginning the wealthy old white dudes realized that democracy was like an existential threat for them. And like expanding democracy so that like everyone could vote and representation in government was like actually proportional to the people would make it so they would lose their power. Like very openly were aware of this and like designed the Constitution and other founding documents to make sure that that didn't happen. And so that's like kind of an undercurrent through the entire thing is that like this whole, what?
Noise happened again.
Was that you?
That was my throat. My mouth was closed. I was not burping. I took a big sip of my water, and then that happened. I didn't do anything. It wasn't happening to me.
Oh no, you took another sip. It's gonna happen again.
A big sip.
Let's see if it happens again. Continue, Ben.
So that's like an undercurrent through the whole thing is like we need to rethink this idea that from the beginning we were like this idyllic democracy, and that's like something like there's always this rhetoric of like from every politician that like we have to be, and obviously like Make America Great Again is like a very obvious like example of that, but from everyone there's like this idea that there's always some like great American tradition we have to return to. Mm-hmm. That's like a rhetoric you hear a lot from a lot of politicians, and it's like the like quote unquote American tradition is exploitation, and it's like literally voter suppression from the very, very beginning of the country, like because it was founded by rich white dudes for rich white dudes.
You know what? It should have been a hint. Was like, have you ever heard any person who's like struggling to survive complain about something like taxation without representation? Really, like the fact like the only people I ever hear complaining about taxes are rich old white dudes.
Yep.
So that probably should have been a good hint for us.
And like how much of the founding documents and the founding fathers, like the main thing they had in mind was protection of private property. Like that was the most important thing. Not even like, making the lives of the citizens better. It was like, we got to make sure private property is protected. It's just like, it's rotten from the start. And then the other big takeaway for me is how like every example we have in history of people doing the right thing and making change for good. And when I say people, I mean like the people we are generally taught about and think of making this change, like usually presidents we admire like Abraham Lincoln and FDR and other like other white male politicians usually. That change almost always, no, I'm going to say always comes after years and years and years of like activist work and it comes like, so the two big examples are like the Civil War and the New Deal for me, where Lincoln was very much a moderate and didn't really care that much about slavery or ending it. It's just like, but obviously there were radical, quote unquote radical at the time, radical abolitionists pushing for the abolishment of slavery for years. Like from the beginning of the country, there were outspoken abolitionists, and through the 1800s into the Civil War. And it sort of like became clear for Lincoln that like that was like the best move to bring the country back together was to end slavery. Like it was, and sure, like he came around later to think it was immoral, but at the time it was very much like out of like out of necessity, basically. Like that was political. That was what he had to do. And it's like this constant cycle we see of a few people from like a grassroots perspective, like not people given power, but people that have power taken away from them most of the time, pushing and pushing and pushing for change with everything they've got, and the country, and warning about like the dangers of keeping things as they are. The country reaches a point of crisis, and someone in power has to then acquiesce to these, quote unquote radicals. And then there's like an immediate lash from the rich white dudes to put things back where they were. So like this is like the story of going up to like slavery ending during the Civil War, chattel slavery ending, and then Reconstruction and the quote unquote redemption, as the Southern at that time Democrats called it, where power was stripped away once again from those people from like mostly black legislators in southern states who were changing, really like making significant good change.
That episode about Reconstruction and redemption was so saddening.
Yeah, like, God, it's just like such a good example of that white lash that comes after anytime like oppressed people are actually kind of get their way for like a decade and like get to actually make change for good. And there's just like incredible decades long lash with lynching and Jim Crow and everything.
Yeah.
And then in the New Deal example, FDR was the president for a long time that I've admired because of the New Deal. But he also was like kind of a moderate, and he's like thought of by some people as an example of someone who started like some socialist programs, basically like Social Security and other things that are like more socialist than any other policies that have been implemented in the past, and like expanding government in terms of employing a bunch of people during as part of the New Deal. But he again was like being pushed for years and years and years by like socialists and labor activists. And then during this time of crisis in the Great Depression, it's like, oh yeah, we actually need to do this thing that works and will help people. Because it's like doing when there's not a crisis, it feels like there's no motivation for these leaders to actually do anything to help people, because like no one's, I don't know, like, because it's not as obvious that people are dying all the time. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But then that sort of triggers the backlash of neoliberalism, which is like where we are now. Like, I feel like this moment that we're in sort of feels like we've come upon another one of these moments where one of these crisis points where we can actually have a chance to push at least some leaders to do something that a lot of activists, I say we as if I'm one of the people who's working for it, like activists have been working on these kinds of things for years in terms of like prison abolition and other racial justice things. Like, feels like this is a moment where we can get something done, but it makes me worry about the pattern of the backlash that comes from that. Not that that's ever a reason to not do it. It scares me about what will happen, you know?
And it seems like, in addition to the backlash, just like the glorification of like the white man who. Yeah,
sorry, I meant to say that. That's part of the cycle too. It's like there's the backlash, and then like years later, there's the glorification of the white dude who ultimately like had to be shoved over the edge to actually do anything.
Oh boy, I do not want to be in the prediction business, but like Joe Biden could be that person so easily who gets like shoved into doing something like socialized healthcare in 2021 if he were to win. Yeah,
honestly, like maybe. But although I don't know, I don't have a lot of high hopes for him doing that. But if he did, in like 50 years, he could be held up as like what a great president he gave us, you know, Medicare for all or whatever. And they fought tooth and nail against it.
Another thing that I feel like I had no sense of, I guess, like, really just no sense of the stakes on, I guess, before listening to these podcasts is like, I think it's really easy, at least when you're like sitting in a relatively privileged like position in this country, as we all are, to like just assume that things have always had a certain amount of equilibrium, or they'll always be kind of like drifting in the same direction of like progressive change. And like you know, you can smooth out the lines of history and think that that's what has happened, but it's been like that's so not true. It's been like people fighting on the ground tooth and nail all the time. Like, complacency is not an option if we want to maintain the progress that we've made, let alone make radical additional changes. We can't just like expect to keep the ground that we've gained, let alone to get new ground without putting like work in and paying attention. That's like really important. I was telling Ian the other day, I feel like being, you know, our mom asked us a question on Slack the other night, like, do we think that part of the reason that our generation is so angry right now is because all the hope and change that Obama like seemed to represent has been like snatched away from us, and he was the first president we got to vote for. And like, I have a lot of complicated feelings about Obama, but like one thing that I do think happened to me personally is that I like Obama was one of the first politicians that I heard like speechify in a really inspiring way on the whole concept of every man is created equal and the Declaration of Independence. And he used it rhetorically in the same way that like Martin Luther King Jr. used it, which is like, you know, it was basically like, take this principle that was written down and make it actually true. But like the way that my idealistic young mind heard it was like, oh, the country was built on really good ideals. It just had some like complicated feelings about them for a while. Like, but now we're coming into our own about it. And like, that's not from his position of experience what he was meaning to communicate. And that's not the reality of it at all. The same with MLK Jr. He wasn't saying like, oh, look, we built a good, fair, equitable foundation, and now we just have to like dig it back up. Like that's not what he was saying. So that I do think in that way, like coming up in the Obama years, kind of like could easily foster that type of complacency, because it was just like, you know, you're just watching like national politics move, like dominant national politics move, like slightly leftward, and being like, oh, okay, this is the arc of history continuing. No need to worry. Yeah. You know?
Right. Yeah. Like gay marriage and like, you know, other sort of like, you know, that sort of spectrum of people, like not trans rights, but that's getting a little more public. Like that's a great point. Like definitely feels like it's getting more progressive, but that's not just like the tide coming in. That's a lot of work and a lot of on the ground people sacrificing and losing their lives. And
and it makes me also like really like, you know, I've always thought that the worries about Trump becoming like a total authoritarian were a little bit like alarmist, and now I don't know that I do anymore, just because like I don't feel like we should, based on actual history, be taking anything that we have now for granted. You know, like even down to like the small amount of democracy that we have. So,
right.
Yeah, it's been a revelation of a listen. I'm not as far as you are, Ben.
I forgot to keep listening to it, so I will.
The latest episode, the one I just listened to, is a story about a really cool civics curriculum that's being taught in Lowell public schools here in Massachusetts. And it's like about, you know, teaching students to be active citizens and like actually like building a public. So that's a really, really good story. And I encourage everyone to listen to the whole season of the podcast.
I just subscribed on my podcast app, the one I actually use. So.
Great.
Should we listen to it like in order or on shuffle?
Does it matter?
I think shuffle's probably better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
They don't build on each other or anything. It's definitely not in like chronological order. Yeah, so it's great.
Awesome.
Love that.
Well, yeah, I'm going to keep listening to that. Thank you, Ben, for bringing that knowledge to the table.
You're welcome.
Great content.
Oh, and it's Chenjerai again. It's
Chenjerai.
Chenjerai's back for this one, and they just have such great conversations. I love that guy.
Yeah,
so smart.
So great.
So smart.
Cool. I'll listen. I'll try to catch up.
Yeah, we'll all listen to it. It'll be good. And everybody listening can listen to it, and we'll all be a big listen club.
Listen club. Wow. Can I be real for a second about clubs, though? I'm now a member of 3 book clubs, and I gotta say, book clubs to me are like a necessary tool, a good and necessary tool to actually like achieve my reading goals. And I feel like I'm realizing that, not like realizing as in discovering, but like realizing a dream for the first time. I'm like realizing my reading goals for the first time thanks to my 3 book clubs.
Wow.
Shout
I
out.
thought you were going to complain about them for sure.
No, it's great. It's like deadlines, but in like a really wonderful way, because at the end of your deadline, you like get on a hangout call in the comfort of your own home with your friends and family and like have a great discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've enjoyed our anti-racist book club a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
and I doubt I would have kept up with reading much of anything
Yeah.
if I didn't have those types of deadlines. Yeah.
And I'm excited for what's to come, too. I'm excited to keep having that momentum and, like, having our, reading list grow and diving into it. It's great.
Yeah. I agree.
Anyway, great content, Ben. Keep up the great content.
There was this one week where I had, like, a book club or some sort of, like, video call thing, like, almost every night. And that was, like, a lot. That was too much.
But it's still not as much in my mind as like when you have like in-person plans every night. So
I never have that.
I don't know what is going to happen to me after, if I don't know if things will go back to normal, but like I like being in my house all the time and socializing exclusively on video calls. I like it. Okay. I'm just here to say I like it. So
yeah. I also like it. I mean, like, we would never, the thing is, like, it feels like less, but we would never, because Ian and I are both so introverted, like, we would never make plans more than 2 nights in a row. I mean, even that is pushing it, right? If they were going out plans. So, like, you're just like, oh, yeah, well, we're just home, so we can just, like, it doesn't matter. But then, like, it turns out it does matter. If it's, like, it still is an energy
That's
suck.
a thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know if I ever need to go into a restaurant again, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what the future holds?
Yep. I feel like for now that's a good attitude to have because it's going to be a while anyway.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Anyway. Hannah, what's your obsession?
My obsession is a TV show. It is an HBO show, but I've been watching it on Hulu.
Well, that's a mindfuck.
Wait. Fuck. I think I know what this is. I just
fucked Ben's mind.
About an HBO show that's like also available on Hulu, but I'm not going to guess it. I don't remember.
Okay. It's I don't know how to describe it, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas.
I knew it.
I knew you were going to say I knew it.
You know,
like,
how...
that's where you're like, I think I heard of that. And then you're like, I'm not going to say it. And then you're like, well, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That wasn't what I was going to say. It's just, this is funny because the reason I heard about this show being on Hulu is because Hannah told me about it before.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is
So
it?
that is why I heard of it.
Problem areas?
Yes, it's...
Wyatt's
Problem. I don't know. Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas. Hold on a second. What was that? What the fuck?
What happened?
Jack just tried to break the door down.
Wow.
Wow. He's upset.
He just like, Ian said he did a ninja wall kick off the door for no reason. That's how he described it. So Wyatt Cenac, for those who don't remember him, was a correspondent on The Daily Show for several years. I don't know, there was several. It might have just been a couple. Who knows? But he was really great on The Daily Show. A lot of what he did was very similar to what he does in this show, which is he would do the like, the sort of, there's like the interview at the end and there's like the monologue-ish part at the beginning. And then in the middle, there's usually like a correspondence section. And a lot of times they would like go out and make like a produced package about it.
Yep.
And interview some people. He did those mostly. And he has this like really great deadpan delivery that I remember listening to him on a podcast when he was first promoting this show because it came out in 2018. And there were 2 seasons, and then I don't know if it got canceled or if the 3rd season got delayed because of coronavirus and stuff. But he, I don't find him that exciting on podcasts to listen to because like he's very funny, but I feel like a lot of the humor of him is in his face and the amount of deadpan he holds in his face at all times. Like, he will be saying a joke, but he'll be saying it in the most, like, not just deadpan, like, disinterested way. Like, and like, it's just like, it, on this show in particular, it juxtaposes itself with this really sort of fun, almost like 70s cartoonish aesthetic. Like, the studio is decorated in like a retro kind of way that he like walks about in. And then also like to go along with what he's saying, there will be like these little, cute little animated, they look like, you know what they remind me of? Like Schoolhouse Rock type animation. That will like be doing things that are relevant to what he's saying. And then also whenever he has to quote someone, the screen will like pan away so you don't see his face. And then he does like a silly voice for every person that he quotes. And it's like very funny to me. But so the, actually, so the show is like, it's broken into 3 segments each time. The first 2 segments are shorter and the last segment is most of the episode. And the first part, he will like, it's mostly in the studio, maybe with some animations. He'll talk about like some issue that is like facing America and why it's a problem and what, you know, you can do to fix it. And there's like a lot of jokes mixed in and stuff. It's like, it's kind of like just like a little tiny problem. And then, and then the middle section will be like, fully produced. Yeah, a little tiny. The middle section will be like a fully produced, like they're usually called a modest proposal or an unintended consequence. And it's like a joke, like commercial type thing for some sort of, creative solution to another problem that exists in the country. And then I wish I could think of examples for these, but I simply can't. And then is it like a Nathan for You type thing? It's like real problems. Like, he's
Nathan for You solves real problems, but like, the solution is like bad, but also like really good in a bad way.
So it's not like anybody's individual problem that he's ever trying to solve. Mm-hmm. It's more like he's talking about like systemic issues and other like types of things that are like national issues. It's like more like the way that John Oliver is a producer on it, an executive producer. It's more like the way he talks about problems, but it's in like just has a different tone to it. And then the last section, which is the longest section of each episode, is about the same subject throughout the entire season. So both seasons are 10 episodes long, and each episode they look at a different angle on a particular, like, a very specific and big problem the country is facing. So the first season, which came out in 2018, every episode, the main bulk of it is about police in America. And he visits a lot of different cities that have tried different types of solutions to deal with like police brutality and discrimination and just all kinds of like inefficient and bad policing practices, discriminatory and stuff. And excuse me. And it's really, really interesting, especially in the time that we're in now. Like, I think, it also kind of shows how much the narrative has shifted already, just in the last few months, because there's only one episode that's about like abolition. And that's like what the whole episode is about. And, the rest of it is like other sort of smaller, like tweaks and stuff, but they're all just like really fascinating. And I think one thing that Wyatt Cenac is the thing he's maybe best at is interviewing people. He like is really good at building rapport with people he like doesn't know very quickly and getting them to like joke around with him and stuff. So I really, really enjoy, it's just like really well put together. It's really fascinating. And I will say, like, while they don't, try to draw a conclusion at the end of like, okay, here's what we can do about police. They do like see some very consistent themes throughout the season that I think are really, useful and important. Like the fact that having the community involved in whatever your solution is, or in like policing in general, is like paramount. Like, the only things that have ever come close to working in any of these places are things that, like, very closely involve the community that is being policed by these people in, like, whatever reform they're trying to do. Yeah, so that I think is, like, a really important takeaway, and there's, like, a lot of really interesting stuff in there. And actually, some of the places that he went and interviewed the people are places that have been, like, part of, like, very visible in this whole, in all the protests and brutality issues that are happening right now. They went to Minneapolis, they went to, Seattle. I don't know if I don't remember if they talked to the NYPD or not, but I know they talked about them. So yeah, it's, and not necessarily because they were all doing things that were working, you know, although in some cases they were doing some things that seemed like they might be working. And I think that's also relevant to see, because clearly, you know, whatever was working or wasn't working, it wasn't changing anything quickly enough.
Right.
You know? And then, season 2, the through line is about schooling, and education. And it's also, like, super interesting. So yeah, I just would recommend it. It's, like, a really great thing to, like, just watch a couple of every night. You can get through it pretty quickly. And I think they're very fun and good and relaxing despite the heavy topics.
Are they approximately 27 to 33 minutes long a piece?
Yes, they are.
They're on YouTube for free skis.
Oh. Wow, who knew?
I think season 1 is maybe there's 55 episodes on YouTube, but some of them are maybe bonus ones.
55.
Yeah, I think there's only 20 that exist, so.
Okay. Yeah, I see season 1 and 2 here.
Cool. Well, there's another place you could go watch them.
Yeah, on the YouTubes.
So yeah, I would just recommend it. We've really enjoyed it. We finished the 2nd season last week. And I'm hopeful it hasn't been canceled, that it's just been delayed, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I refuse to Google it.
do you want me to Google it and then not tell you? I'll do that.
No. I mean, you can tell me if you're gonna Google it.
Okay.
I feel bad. I always feel bad when I find shows, like, so, like, long after they started airing, because then maybe I could have watched them and they wouldn't have gotten canceled. Did it get canceled?
It's probably your fault that it did get canceled. Yeah,
it's definitely your fault that it got canceled.
Definitely.
You really should have watched it when it came out so that it wouldn't get canceled.
I feel that way about Firefly, too. I feel like that's my fault.
Yeah,
it's your fault.
Firefly. TV series. Yeah. When did it come out?
Firefly? Like, early 2000s, I think.
Joss Whedon sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
He's extremely problematic.
He is?
Yeah. Yes.
I have heard that, but not what is going on.
His ex-wife has some things to say about him.
Oh, jeez.
Yikes.
Oh. Yikes.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you Google that.
He looks like Louis C.K.
I don't know that I think he's just, like, a sketch dude.
No, I just said he looks like him.
Yeah. Well, that could never lead anywhere good, so.
Exactly. Well, sad.
That sounds like a nice YouTube.
Yeah, it's a really good show. I would definitely recommend it.
Cool. Cool.
Well then. Should we do homework?
Wow, look at us. Sticking around an hour today. We got it. Yeah, I'll start out with homework. Check your milk lines.
Okay. Check your milk lines. Let me write that down. Hold on.
Yeah, check your milk lines. See if they're not always on your milk lines, but that's where mine are. Allegedly. My alleged supernumerary nipples are on my milk lines. So check your milk lines. See if you have them. That could be cool. That could be a fun thing you can learn about yourself. The human body is an amazing place.
Yeah.
let's see, what else? I'm on Twitter, Earn Burn. I review lesbian movies. Lesbian movie reviews on Instagram. And I think that's it. Join a book club. Find a friend and join a book club. Shout out to Beck, who started lesbian book club with me. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what your third one was.
Yep. My third nip or my third book club? My goal is to have as many book clubs as I have extra nipples. I'm almost there.
Ben, what's your homework?
What is my homework?
And how many nipples do you think you have?
I think I only have 2, unfortunately. But I'll check my milk lines.
Check your milk lines, Ben.
I'll do my homework.
Yeah, you can't be sure unless you check.
My homework is listen to Scene on Radio, the podcast, season 4, and also season 2, and probably season 1 and 3, even though I haven't listened to them yet. But based on the other 2 so far, they're probably going to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
And my podcast, my Twitter. My podcast is WayTooBroad. My Twitter is Nicely Proved Ben. My Twitch is Disco Greg.
Nice. Are you going to stream anything?
Yeah, when are you going to stream?
I don't know.
You going to bring that thing down the hall?
Just throwing that
it's
around.
Just so...
Throwing the word around.
Because I have so much stuff on my fucking desk for work. So it's so annoying to move everything.
Like, literal things. Not like, I have a lot of stuff on my plate. Why don't they say I have a lot of stuff on my desk? You're talking
because of this exact confusion.
I can't pay attention to that project when I have a lot of stuff on my desk. You could use that, and people might assume that you mean you have a lot of stuff on your plate and leave you alone.
Okay, yeah.
They might. Or they might assume that you're, like, so messy that you can't focus.
Ooh, I can't take that folder from you. I have a lot of stuff on my desk.
Cool.
All right. Well, good stream excuse. What's up, Hannah?
My homework is watch Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas on Hulu or YouTube, I guess. Both seasons are great. Watch them both. I am on Twitter at Hanthropology. I'm on Instagram at Hanthropology. I'm just not really on Twitch at all. So I have another podcast called So Dreamy. We talk about dreams. So go listen to that. We have 70 episodes. And I guess that's it. So now let me also tell you the podcast stuff. So if you want to call us and tell us how many nipples you have after you checked your milk lines, you can do that at 774-326-0420.
Blaze
it for Earth Day. You can find us on Twitter at WayTooBroadPod. You can find us on Instagram at WayTooBroad. You can email us about your nipples at WayTooBroad@gmail.com. And if you missed any of that, you can find all of it at WayTooBroad.com for anything you want. EarnBen.com for anything you need. Don't forget to leave us a review. We appreciate you. I am so hot in this room right now, so I did rush that a little bit. And so that's it then. The podcast
I thought it was
candle.
perfect.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The podcast candle is now extinguished.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, baseball's coming back soon, isn't it?
Yeah, at the end of the month.
Wow. Well, happy birthday, Dad. Fuck.